56A is where we're headed today. Hunter Cantrell is joining us to talk about his campaign to come to the Minnesota House. Hunter, thank you very much. I appreciate the time.
Well, thank you for having me, Matt and Hunter.
Well, it's our pleasure. First of all, why don't we start off what we always do, introduce who exactly is Hunter Cantrell.
Well, so I've lived in Savage for the past 15 years, and I went through the ISC 191 school district, so Hidden Valley Elementary, Eagle Ridge Middle School, and finally graduated from Burnsville High School. This is a fantastic community, and I myself, I've been working as a home health aide for the past 6 years, and I also worked I also currently work with ISC 191, and it's such a pleasure to have this opportunity to really work with people who I feel like made a huge investment in me. Also, I went through several months of chemotherapy last year, so that kind of opened up my eyes and prompted me to start this campaign.
And is that what you know? Well, first of all, I hope everything's all right. That the treatments went okay.
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple bumps in the road, just like with anything, but I mean, because of the strength of our community and the strength of the people around me, I was able to get through. So I feel just fortunate to be here, and as of December 26, 2017, I'm now in remission.
Well, good. That's some good news there. I'm glad to hear that. I just had surgery earlier this week on a hernia myself, so it's something that we talk about. We can definitely talk to healthcare, but I mean, talk a little bit about how that experience motivated you to say, you know what, I'm going to run for 56A.
Sure, absolutely. So when I was going through my chemotherapy treatment, I met a lot of people, even people who were about my age, who weren't able to access the same life-saving chemotherapy drugs that I was able to get access to. And aside from that, I talked to a lot of people who just struggle with the day-to-day burdens of a healthcare system that simply just isn't built to work for us. So it was kind of throughout that entire experience, I contemplated, I think that we need somebody in our state legislature who truly understands the struggles that people experience in terms of being able to access and afford health care. And I decided, since I was able to make it through my experience and still be here, that I want to use my second chance at life to make sure everyone else could get their second chance as well.
56A, why don't we describe to everyone where exactly this is? It's part of the metro area just south of the Minnesota River, right?
Yeah, so 56A is all in Savage in the northwest corner of Burnsville.
Okay. And it basically at one point it was I don't want to necessarily call it a part of the metro area necessarily. I know that sometimes people there's a difference between something like a Richfield and you get down towards Burnsville and Savage, but the reality is it's been an area which has a long history. It's been one of the first I would say exo suburbs that was developed. It is quite a bit developed, and it's one of the things as you talk about that area. There's a lot of people that come in from the south, come in from Iowa, come in from southern Minnesota, where that is their metro area. They come into that part of the state and they stay there because there's so many different things. I know that Canterbury and Valley Fair are not in your district, but there's a lot of hotels and restaurants that service that area. Plus, of course, Burnsville Center. There's a lot there, so you do get a really vibrant population there.
Right, absolutely. And I would say we have one of the most vibrant communities of anywhere in our great state. We're a wonderful place to live, to go to school, to do business, and it really just is a pleasure to be in a place where we have so many folks who are just dedicated to working hard and creating a place where everybody has a good sense of community.
I would qualify it more as blue-collar community, middle-class community. Talk about the reaction when you've brought up your own personal story in regards to the healthcare crisis that you went through and the fact that affordable healthcare is not something that is available for most. Talk about the reactions that you're getting as you go out and meet the people of the community.
Yeah, absolutely. So, when the way that I approach the issue of healthcare and really all these issues that affect just our base quality of life, I never approach it through a lens of well, this is meant to be a partisan issue, because it's mainly just a human issue. So when I talk with folks and say, look, I'm lucky to still be here, and I'm running my campaign because I want to make sure everyone else can get a fair deal on health care, the immediate reaction is, thank you. Yes, absolutely. I mean, I've talked with folks who have $5,000, $10,000 deductibles or who have these skyrocketing premiums, as coverage continues to cover less and less every year, but we pay more for it. So, I mean, it's a pretty, I think, ubiquitous issue in our district that people just say, look, I want to have a good quality of life, and healthcare right now just isn't working for me.
What are some of the other issues that you're bringing up with the residents of 56A?
Well, yeah, no, that's a great question. So another one of my major issues is making sure that we adequately fund our educational resources for all of our schools and all of our students, including adequately funding our special education services. Currently, there are a lot of school districts, including the IC 191 school district, that are experiencing budget deficits. So making sure that we fill in those gaps and ensure all students and teachers have the resources they need is extremely important.
The financing of education is a incredibly multifaceted deal, and obviously the 56A is more of a metro area, and the problem is that when you have the open enrollment, when you have these Republicans who are pushing this cut into the public school pie as much as possible mentality, that, inevitably you're going to start running down on money. And the argument is insanity because you just pick your favorite burger place. Now tell the guy that makes that burger you have to use, only, 20% less meat, 20% less bun, 20% less condiments. Your grill's going to be 20% less effective, and we're going to have 20% less competent staff. You're not going to be able to produce the same product, but yet that seems to be the Republican solution, to take away that somehow that's going to make it better. And that's not working here. What are some ideas that you have is when you talk about the funding here of how we can address this on a statewide level to where not only here, and obviously this is not necessarily a problem for 56A, but outstate schools, they have funding issues as well. I mean, this is really becoming a much more complicated problem because the conservatives have screwed this up.
Well, so when we think about really what the core values are in our state, I think that education has always been something that Minnesotans and that Minnesota has valued. And investing in our education is at its core, I think, an investment in the public good and an investment in our future stability as a state. So I would like to see an alleviation of, I think, the disparity that's come about over the past decade or so, where now we're spending less state dollars on investing in public education and per student spending now than we did in 2004, adjusting for inflation. So I think that making up for that deficit and contributing more of the state dollars to say, or to reaffirm our commitment to our students, to our teachers, to our families, that education really is a priority of our state, and we do recognize that it's something that everybody needs in order to succeed. I think that's how we can start to address this crisis.
Another issue I know that's near and dear to your community is transportation. You have a Republican House that decided that even though we have the 16th largest metro area in the country, that they weren't going to put any dollars in for transit for the next transportation cycle. Obviously, another bridge down there would be a hoot. I think we sure could use it. But talk a little bit about the expansion of transportation, because obviously the community is still growing. There's still lots of space down there. And, frankly, it's something that's needed.
Well, absolutely. And transportation is a major issue for a lot of folks who live in my community. Especially as we have more and more of our fellow Minnesotans and of our community members reaching retirement age. We want to make sure that people can retain as much of their independence in retirement in their luxury years as possible. So that means being able to get to their doctor's appointments, get to their pharmacists, go to the grocery store. I mean, maintain their independence with once they are beyond being able to drive a vehicle. So that's something that's come up as a major issue, is expanding our public transportation infrastructure so that people can still have a good quality of life in their later years. And also, I mean, it's expensive to own a car. If we look at, the cost of just going to maintenance and gas and all this, I think expanding transportation down here could help to not only expand people's access to economy, but also expand our local economy as well.
Well, and you can look at a map. Would it be that hard to take Normandale Boulevard straight south and hook it into 13? I don't think it would be that tough. I don't think it would be. I believe in transportation. When I believe in transportation policy, I'm old school. I believe in buses. I believe in light rail. I believe in bike trails, but I sure do also believe in road construction. And we have roads that, because Republicans no longer are caring about future generations, they only care about their reelection cycle. We don't look at the problem as we should as a growth issue, and that if we're going to have better growth in Savage and Burnsville, if we're going to have better growth south of the river, well, a few more bridges would be a good idea. And then make them accessible with bike lanes and make them accessible with light rail lines, because that's building transportation that works for everyone.
Right, absolutely, and I would kind of hesitate to just paint it as a all Republicans are coming after the expansion of our roads or the expansion of our public transportation and quality of life. I think there are a lot of people in our district who feel that that a lot of folks who are maybe Republican members of our state legislature don't accurately reflect their desires and their dreams in the ways that they'd like to see their communities improved. But I do agree. I think that we need to expand kind of local transportation that is also inclusive of buses and light rails investing in our roads, but also for pedestrian and bike paths to make sure that people can get from point A to point B in a way that is sustainable and economical.
And by all means, this is not a Republicans versus Democrats. It's Republican politicians not delivering for their constituents, because most of the Republicans in 56A, I think they want more about. I know a lot of Republicans, especially north of the river, that use the public transportation because it's good. It's a great option. I think that the representation that's down there right now is not delivering for the constituents of 56A.
Well, and when I wake up every day, I say to myself, I'm not ready to go out and talk with folks for another day to try and defeat my opponent. I go out and say, there are people out there who have needs and hopes and dreams and struggles that aren't being addressed right now, and I want to make sure that I'm doing my darndest every single day and at every single door to make sure that those concerns are understood and heard, and that they will eventually be addressed.
Well, and we need it. We want to know the truth is for a DFL majority, we need that seat to go to the DFL. You're a great candidate. I want to encourage people. This is the point, Hunter, where I say, you help your local Democrat. By all means, help them out. But if you're in a district that's relatively safe, that the DFL doesn't really have any competition, by all means, get on out into some of these other districts and help. This is a Republican district that should be a Democratic district. I mean, there's a lot to offer this district. And once again, we've seen it. The Republicans are not the solution. They are the problem. We need good new leadership, and having a Democrat in 56A would be a good option. I imagine you need volunteers for door knocking, phone calling, and donations as well, correct?
Absolutely. I mean, we really are a people-powered campaign. Our slogan is people-powered politics, because we believe that politics is first and foremost about people and about improving each other's lives. So any help that people are willing to lend to our campaign is really an investment, not only in us being successful in November, but also in us building a Minnesota that's reflective of our values as all Minnesotans, and that is to make sure that we have a good quality of life, and that we're helping each other build good communities.
HunterCantrell.com. That's HunterCantrell.com. And I imagine people can go to that website and find out information on how to make a donation or how to volunteer, correct?
Yes, absolutely. So right on the home or right on the first page that you get to at HunterCantrell.com, there's an option to select that you want to volunteer or door knock or assist our campaign. And then HunterCantrell.com/contribute is where folks can make a donation. And the state of Minnesota does have a political contribution refund program where people can, who are kind enough to invest in our campaign, can receive the first $50 of their contributions reimbursed to them by the state if they file their taxes as a single person, or the first $100 of their political contributions per calendar year refunded by the state if they filed as a married person. So, I mean, it's really a remarkable program, and that's how we've raised quite considerable amount of of the investments in our campaign.
HunterCantrell.com, HunterCantrell.com. I'll put links to this on Facebook, Twitter a little bit later on, and also, of course, as Democrat of the Day, we'll spotlight this interview. Hunter, thank you very much. All my best. 56A, we need that in the DFL column. I think you're a great candidate, and I hope you the best as we get ready for November.
Oh, thank you. It was a pleasure to speak with you. Take care.
Thank you very much. Hunter Cantrell, 56A, Democrat of the Day.